And they just stood there, gazing at the awesome sight their eyes beheld, unable to remove their stare from it. Surpassing the drama of Kriyas Yamsuf and the salvation from near calamity was the revelation perceived by the Bnei Yisrael. Amar Rabbi Shimon says in the Zohar HaKadosh, Be'ahi shaita da'avu kaimen Yisrael al yama. On that moment that Yisrael was on the sea, v'avu amri shirasan, they sang the song, Iskele kud shabrichu alayu, v'chol resicho v'chaylo. HaKadosh Baruch Hu and all his chariots and all his hosts appeared to them. Begin di yindun l'malkeon, da'avid lon kol ino nisan ugvorun. They should know their king that did for them all these miracles. V'chol chad v'chad yada, each one knew, v'istakel and gazed. Mad lo yadu v'istaklu shar nevei alma, what no other prophet saw. And they just stood there and gazed at the awesome sight that they beheld without being able to remove their stare from it. Listen to what the Zohar HaKadosh writes on this revelation. V'yalkach havukulu mistakle kilu chaman eina beina. And on this each of them gazed as if they saw eye to eye. V'katsimu milan kulu misbasmen b'nafshayu. When they completed their song, their souls were scented. V'tavan lemechame ulistakal, and they desired to stare and to gaze. V'lo havaba'an lenatla mitaman miskius tiufta. They were unable to tear themselves away from it, from the overwhelming desire. So much so that Moshe Rabbeinu had to travel the Bnei Yisrael. Ayasa Moshe es Yisrael meyamsuf. Moshe had to travel them away from that overwhelming, desirous sight. And the question for us in our own lives and each of us at our own level is, can we become more passionate in the holy? Can we be more attached to those things that are holy? Can we be more afire? Is this important? And some will say that this is not my expression, it's not my nature, I'm not so enthusiastic. But the question is not expression. The question is developing a zeal and a zest and a fervor for something, however it's expressed. The Baal Tanya's son, the Mittler Rebbe, married the daughter of the Berditchever Rav. And it was quite an awesome chasana, a great event. The Berditchever was very interested to know and to see the greatness of his new son-in-law. And the Baal Tanya says, you will yet see. They honored the chasan with birchas hamazon, with leading the benching. And he began the benching, and the Berditchever saw nothing. Well known was the great hislahavus, the spiritual ecstasy of the Berditchever Rav, uncontainable fervor that he had when he served Hashem. Very dismayed was he when he saw nothing. To which the Baal Tanya responded and said, inside. It is all inside. So on one level we will say that we are passionate about those things that are important to us, those things that we find meaningful, those things that are important. Certainly we have to develop an approach, an understanding of how we can get into the holy. Each of us according to our personalities and according to our derech, our way. And yes, the word tam, the word for reason, is also the word for taste. when we have reason and we have an understanding of something, we have an inner connection, we will have a taste and experience. The Chafetz Chaim said on the man, which the Medrash said could taste like anything that you would think of. What if you didn't think? Asked the Chafetz Chaim. What would it taste like? Nothing, he said. If you're not thinking, it doesn't taste. But let's go deeper. Let's go to the foundation, the Yesod. Because of wanting to understand man, we always have to try and understand the Eser Sfiros, the 10 powers that's imbued in man, parallel the 10 Sfiros of Hashem, how he interrelates with the universe. And the sphere we want to know about is foundation, called Yesod. Yesod, the Son of Rebbe says, is, quote, the Midas HaTshuka. That Midah, the character of desire. To yearn, to really want, to be attached to something. But Rabbi Brody says it in a different way. And listen. He says, Midas HaYesod is the Hiskashrus HaMashpia UMakabel. It's the binding of the giver and the receiver. It's that point of connection, of great intimacy between the Mashpia, the giver, and the receiver. Every koach, every power of our nefesh also has a shmira, a guarding, that's attached to it. Take, for example, the Sfira of Malchus. As expressed in the person, this is Dibur, power of speech. Power to speak as it was imbued in the human by Hashem. It has a shmira attached to it. We call this shmira salasha, guarding speech from negativity, from lashon hara, from pessimism, from insulting, from hurting. It guards the koach of dibur, our power of speech. Our inayim, our power of seeing, of perceiving, also has a shmira attached to it. Not to look at that which is inappropriate. We call this shmiras inayim, guarding the eyes. And Yesod, it too has a shmira attached to it, called shmiras abris, guarding the bris. As it pertains to the man, that is where his midah of chuk, of desire, is most expressed. But in general, it means a shmira of Yesod, protecting this Yesod, this point of his kashrus, of where we can be bound up with something. Yesod. In life, the shmira is that we don't allow this place of his kashrus to go into silliness, into nonsense. When we find our place of intimacy, of connection, in things that are not proper and silly, then that is where our hiskashrus, our bond, is going to be found. And when we go into the holy, when we go to tefillah to talk to Hashem, when we go to Torah to learn His words, when we're conversing with Hashem in our own words, we won't find that hiskashrus, that point of being bound up. But if we are shomer ourselves, we guard ourselves, each person according to what's proper for them, then we will find a point of hiskashrus, a connection into Hashem. The word chai, the Ksav HaKabbalah, interprets to be alive, not just living. In the conversation between Yaakov and Yosef, is my father still alive? It's not a question, is he living from the dead, but is he alive? Is he vibrant? Does he have vitality? When Yaakov proclaimed, Od Yosef b'ni chai, my son Yosef yet lives, he meant he's alive. And this was Yosef, who was Shomer the Bris, who protected the special koach we have of Yesod, of being bound up with something. And because he protected it, was chai, he was living. And this is really the message of the trees, that they're saying to us this coming week of Tu B'Shvat. Because a Rosh Hashanah, a new year, is celebrated in the middle of the winter, where the tree is not flourishing, not flowering, not producing fruits. This is a new year? The answer is yes. As Chazal teach, it's during Shvat that the srav is Ola B'ilan, the sap, ascends in the tree. The sap is that which gives the nutrients of the ground to the tree, provides it with life. And the tree says, Eitz Chayimi, I'm a living tree. It's a beginning right now. And it's going to produce flowers, and it's going to produce fruits, and I am alive. And the same thing with each Jew. We can really be alive in everything we do. If we have this hiskashus, we find our place of vitality, of connection in with Hashem. And just like Od Yosef ben Ichai, my Yosef is still alive, Am Yisrael Chai. The nation of Israel lives, and each of us can really be alive.